Chosen ones, stop scrolling. God is sending your blessing right now. That restlessness stirring in your chest, that quickening in your spirit, it's not a coincidence. It's a divine signal, a heavenly alert that this moment, this very second, is your appointed hour. You didn't stumble across this message by accident. Heaven hunted you down, cutting through the noise of a distracted world to deliver a truth so urgent it could rewrite your destiny. God is moving, and your blessing isn't coming tomorrow, next week, or next year. It's here, now, pulsing in the air around you. But here's the truth that will shake you to your core. Blessings don't chase those who stand still. They meet those who move in faith. Are you ready to claim what God has already released, or will you let this moment slip through your fingers like sand? Don't you dare scroll past. The next 60 minutes will unveil why your deepest struggles have been forging you for this exact breakthrough. Your divine moment starts now. Picture a golden scroll unfurling in the heavens, your name etched in radiant ink, glowing with divine purpose. That's not a fantasy, it's the reality of this moment. You've been carrying burdens others can't see, weathering storms that should have broken you, and standing when everyone else fell. Why? Because God has been preparing you for a blessing so massive, it required a heart refined by fire, a spirit strengthened by trials, a faith unshaken by delay. Every tear you've cried, every door that slammed shut, every prayer that seemed to echo into silence. It wasn't punishment, preparation. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Did you hear that? God's plan isn't to withhold from you, but to position you for a personal transformation that will ripple through generations. Your struggles weren't random. They were divine assignments, sculpting you into the chosen one you were always meant to be. Let's talk about why you're here, chosen one. You've felt different your entire life, haven't you? Like you were born for something bigger than the ordinary existence others seem content with. That feeling wasn't imagination, it was prophecy. It was your spirit recognizing its divine DNA, its celestial fingerprint. But the enemy has been whispering lies, telling you you're not enough, that your mistakes disqualify you, that your dreams are too big. Those lies are crumbling right now. You're not just another face in the crowd. You're the answer to someone's prayer, the solution to someone's problem, the miracle someone's been waiting for. This video unveils a unique truth. Your deepest fears are the keys to your greatest breakthroughs. Every time you've felt afraid, afraid to fail, afraid to succeed, afraid to step out, God was using that fear to forge a courage so fierce it will shatter every limitation holding you back. Your blessing is on the other side of that fear, and it's closer than you think. Think about Moses. For 40 years he lived in Pharaoh's palace, surrounded by luxury, but his heart burned for his people. Then came 40 years in the wilderness, herding sheep, feeling forgotten. 80 years of waiting, of wondering if God had abandoned him. But every moment in the desert was forging him into the deliverer of a nation. When God called him at the burning bush, Moses was afraid. He stammered, "Who am I to go to Pharaoh?" That fear wasn't weakness. It was the raw material God used to shape a leader. Your fears, chosen one, aren't barriers. They're building blocks. That fear of starting over, of speaking up, of trusting again, it's not holding you back. It's preparing you to step into your faith journey with a boldness that will move mountains. God isn't asking you to be fearless, He's asking you to act in spite of fear, to trust that He's already gone before you. Now let's get real. You've been praying for a breakthrough, haven't you? For financial freedom, for healing in your family, for clarity in your purpose. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Your blessing is already in motion. It's not waiting for perfect conditions or a better version of you. It's waiting for your yes, your movement, your faith in action. Picture a mighty river, its waters rushing toward you, carrying provision, restoration, and divine purpose. That river is flowing right now, but you're standing on the bank, hesitating. Why? Because the enemy has convinced you to wait for a sign, to doubt your worth, to fear the unknown. But Hebrews 11:1 thunders, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Faith doesn't wait for clarity, it moves before the path is clear. Your blessing is here, but it requires you to step into the river, to trust that God's promises will hold you up. Let me tell you about Sarah, a single mother from Atlanta. For years she prayed for a way to provide for her 2 children after a painful divorce left her struggling. She felt invisible, like her dreams of stability were out of reach. But one evening, scrolling through YouTube, she stumbled across a message like this one. Her heart raced as the words pierced her spirit. "Your blessing is now." Instead of scrolling past, she paused. She felt a nudge to act, to stop waiting for a perfect moment. That night, she wrote down one goal: to start a small catering business from her kitchen. She was terrified. Her savings were low, her confidence shaky. But she took the first step, posting a menu on social media. Within a week, a local church ordered meals for an event. That order led to another, then another. Today, Sarah's business employs 3 people and supports her family. Her fear didn't disappear, but her faith outran it. That's what God is calling you to do right now, to outrun your fear and claim the blessing He's already sent. Let's address the elephant in the room. Why do some blessings seem to pass you by? Why do others step into their breakthroughs while you're still waiting? It's not because God loves them more or because they're more qualified. It's because they acted. They didn't let fear write their story. They didn't wait for every detail to align. They moved. Think about Peter, called by Jesus to walk on water. The storm was raging, the waves crashing, but Peter didn't wait for the sea to calm. He stepped out of the boat, his eyes fixed on Christ. For those glorious moments, the impossible held his weight. But when he looked at the waves, fear crept in and he began to sink. Yet even then, Jesus didn't let him drown. He reached out, lifted Peter up, and brought him to safety. Your blessing is waiting for you to step out, even if your knees are shaking. God doesn't promise a storm-free life, but He promises to be your anchor when you move in faith. Here's where this message gets practical. God's blessing is here, but it's not a magic wand. It's a partnership. He's opened the door, but you have to walk through it. I'm going to give you 3 specific, relatable steps to claim your blessing right now. These aren't vague ideas. They're actions you can take today to align with God's plan. First, write down one goal for this week that aligns with your divine purpose. Maybe it's starting that business, applying for that job, or studying a new skill. Be specific. For example, I will draft a business plan by Friday, or I will enroll in an online course by tomorrow. Writing it down makes it real, a tangible step toward your breakthrough. Second, reach out to someone you need to connect with. Maybe it's a loved one you've been meaning to forgive, a mentor who can guide you, or a friend who needs encouragement. Pick up the phone, send a text, or write an email today. That connection could be the spark God uses to ignite your blessing. Third, start that project you've been delaying. Whether it's a book, a ministry, or a creative idea, take one small action. Register a domain name, write the first page, or sketch a plan. These steps aren't just tasks. They're acts of faith, signaling to heaven that you're ready to receive what God has sent. Let's pause for a moment. You've been through too much to stay stuck. every rejection, every betrayal, every sleepless night. They were forging you for this. Psalm 31:20 declares, "You hide them in the secret place of your presence from the plots of man." While the enemy plotted against you, God was protecting you, preparing you for a blessing so big it will make every trial worth it. Picture a radiant door standing before you, your name carved in gold, glowing with promise. That door is open now, but it won't stay open forever. Divine timing has a rhythm, and this is your beat. Don't let fear or doubt steal what God has already declared yours. You're not too old, too broken, or too late. You're exactly where God needs you to be, poised for a spiritual awakening that will change everything. Let me tell you about James, a 45-year-old teacher from Chicago. He'd spent years feeling trapped in a job that drained his soul, dreaming of opening a community center for at-risk youth. But fear held him back. Fear of failure, fear of leaving stability, fear of not being enough. One Sunday, a sermon on faith pierced his heart. He went home, wrote down his goal. "I will research funding for the community center this week." He called a friend who'd started a non-profit, asking for advice. That conversation led to a grant application, which led to funding. Today, James's center serves over 100 kids, giving them hope and a future. His fear didn't vanish, but his faith outshone it. That's what God is calling you to do. To let your faith shine brighter than your fear, to take those 3 steps and watch Him move. If this message is igniting a fire in your spirit, consider supporting through Super Thanks to help us carry this truth to others searching for their breakthrough. Your seed doesn't just support a channel, it helps awaken chosen ones who feel forgotten. But whether you give or not, your presence here is a testament to your calling. So let's make it real. If you're ready to claim your blessing, type, "I am claiming my blessing now," in the comments. Your words are a declaration, a vow to heaven that you won't let this moment pass. Join thousands of chosen souls by subscribing to stay connected to your divine purpose. Don't just watch. Become part of a movement of faith and action. Now let's talk about what's behind that door. It's not just financial provision or healed relationships, though those may come. It's purpose. It's legacy. It's the version of you God has always seen, bold, unstoppable, radiant with His glory. Imagine stepping through that door and finding a room filled with every prayer you've ever prayed, every dream you've ever dreamed, all waiting to be claimed. That's what's at stake. But the enemy is terrified of you reaching that room. He's thrown every obstacle in your path: doubt, distraction, despair. Why? Because he knows that when you step through, you'll become a force for God's kingdom, breaking chains, healing hearts, and shifting atmospheres. Your blessing isn't just for you. It's for the generations after you, for the souls you'll inspire, for the world you'll change. Consider Esther. She was an orphan, living in exile, yet God positioned her to save a nation. When she faced the choice to approach the king, her knees must have trembled. Death was a real possibility. But she prayed, fasted, and acted. She stepped through her door, and her courage changed history. Your door is just as significant. It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing. God doesn't need your qualifications. He needs your yes. Romans 8:28 promises, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Every closed door, every heartbreak, every fear, it's all working for your good, leading you to this moment. Your blessing is here, but it's up to you to claim it. Let's revisit those 3 steps, because they're your bridge to the blessing. First, write down one goal for this week. Make it clear, measurable, aligned with your purpose. Second, reach out to someone today. A friend, a family member, a mentor. That connection is a divine appointment. Third, start that project you've delayed. Take one small step, trusting God to guide the rest. These aren't just actions, they're declarations of faith, proof that you believe God's blessing is now. Don't add more steps or overcomplicate it. These three are enough to shift your trajectory, to align you with God's plan. Act on them and watch how heaven responds. Picture yourself standing before that radiant door, the air electric with anticipation. You can feel the weight of eternity in this moment. Every struggle, every fear, every prayer has led you here. The enemy wants you to hesitate, to question, to wait. But God is whispering, "Now, my child, your blessing is now." Think about David, a shepherd boy facing a giant. He didn't wait for better armor or a bigger army. He ran toward Goliath with a slingshot and a faith that God was enough. Your giant, fear, doubt, delay, is standing in front of your blessing. Run toward it, chosen one. Your faith is enough. Let's dive deeper, chosen one, because the truth unfolding in this moment is too potent to ignore. You're standing at the threshold of a blessing so profound it could redefine not just your life, but the lives of those tethered to your destiny. That radiant door, shimmering with your name etched in gold, isn't just an invitation, it's a divine summons. A call to step into the fullness of who God created you to be. You've felt the weight of this moment, haven't you? The way your heart quickens, the way your spirit seems to lean forward, as if it knows something your mind is still grasping. This isn't just another day, another video, another fleeting inspiration. This is your spiritual awakening, the hour when heaven aligns with earth to release what's been stored up for you since before the stars were hung in the sky. But here's the revelation that will shift your perspective. Your blessing isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a force you unleash when you dare to move in faith. Imagine a vast ocean, its waves carrying treasures from distant shores, each one destined for you. Provision, purpose, healing, legacy. That ocean is surging toward you right now, but it's not enough to stand on the shore, waiting for the waves to crash at your feet. You must wade in, chosen one, trusting that the waters will part, that the treasures will find you when you move. Joshua 3:13 tells us, as soon as the priests who carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, its waters flowing downstream will be cut off and stand up in a heap. Did you catch that? The miracle didn't happen until the priests stepped into the river. They didn't wait for the waters to part first. They moved, and God moved with them. Your blessing is waiting for you to take that step, to trust that God's promises are as solid as the ground beneath your feet, even when all you see is water. Let's talk about the lies that have kept you anchored to the shore. The enemy has been relentless, hasn't he? Whispering that you're too late, that your mistakes have disqualified you, that someone else is more worthy of this blessing. But those lies are unraveling in the light of God's truth. You are not defined by your past, your failures, or the voices that tried to dim your light. You are defined by God's call on your life, by the divine purpose woven into your very being. Think about Rahab, a woman labeled by her past, living on the outskirts of Jericho. Society saw her as unworthy, but God saw her as a vessel of redemption. When she hid the Israelite spies, she didn't just save herself, she secured a legacy that placed her in the lineage of Jesus. Her faith, not her flaws, defined her destiny. Your faith, chosen one, is the key that unlocks the blessing God is sending right now. Let me share a story about Maria, a 32-year-old nurse from Dallas. For years she felt trapped in a cycle of exhaustion, working long shifts while dreaming of starting a health outreach for underserved communities. Fear kept her stuck. Fear of financial instability, fear of failing those who depend on her. One night, feeling defeated, she stumbled across a message that pierced her soul. It urged her to act, to trust God's timing. She remembered the 3 steps we've already shared. Write a goal, connect with someone, start a project. Maria grabbed a notebook and wrote, "I will create a health outreach plan by next Sunday." She called a colleague who shared her passion, and together they drafted a proposal. That small step led to a local grant, and today, Maria's outreach serves hundreds, offering free health screenings. Her fear didn't vanish, but her faith carried her through. That's what God is asking of you. To let your faith carry you, to trust that the blessing He's sending is already yours. If this message is setting your heart ablaze, type, "My blessing is now" in the comments below. Your declaration is a beacon, signaling to heaven that you're ready to receive, and to others that they're not alone in this journey. Your words could spark courage in someone hesitating at their own threshold. And if this truth is stirring your spirit, consider supporting through Super Thanks to help us reach more chosen ones yearning for their breakthrough. Your generosity is a bridge, carrying this message to those who need it most. But whether you give or simply receive, know that you're part of a divine movement, a remnant rising to claim what God has promised. Now let's unpack why this moment feels so urgent. It's not just about you. It's about the ripple effect of your obedience. Your blessing isn't a solitary gift, it's a catalyst designed to shift atmospheres, heal hearts, and break chains. When you step into your divine purpose, you become a living testimony, proof that God's promises are real. Think about Joseph, sold into slavery, imprisoned, forgotten. Every trial he faced was a thread in a tapestry God was weaving, not just for him, but for nations. Genesis 50:20 declares, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Your trials, chosen one, aren't just about you. They're preparing you to save lives, to inspire hope, to build a legacy that outlives you. Your blessing is the key that unlocks freedom for others, but only if you claim it. Here's where the enemy's strategy comes into focus. He doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you. He's thrown busyness, doubt, and comparison in your path, hoping you'll miss this moment. But you're not distracted now, are you? You're here, listening, feeling the weight of eternity in these words. That's because God is cutting through the fog, clearing the way for you to see the blessing He's sending. Picture a lighthouse piercing the darkness, its beam guiding ships to safety. That's what this message is, a lighthouse, guiding you to the shore of your destiny. But you must steer the ship. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project, are your rudder, your way of navigating toward the blessing. Don't overthink them. They're simple, but they're powerful, designed to align you with God's plan. Let's consider David again, not as the giant slayer, but as the shepherd boy tending sheep. Before he faced Goliath, he faced lions and bears, protecting his flock. Those battles weren't glamorous, but they were essential, building the courage he'd need for his defining moment. Your battles, chosen one, have been your training ground. Every time you chose forgiveness over bitterness, faith over fear, hope over despair, you were building the strength to claim this blessing. Psalm 18:34 says, "He trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze." God has been training you not to break you, but to make you unbreakable. Your blessing is here, and you're ready to receive it. Not because you're perfect, but because you're prepared. Imagine standing on a mountaintop, the wind carrying the scent of promise, the horizon glowing with possibility. That's where you are right now, chosen one. The valley of trials is behind you, and the peak of your breakthrough is within reach. But you must keep climbing. The enemy will try to pull you back, whispering that it's safer in the valley, that the climb isn't worth it. Don't listen. The view from the top, the blessing God is sending, will make every step worthwhile. Your faith journey has brought you here, and it will carry you forward. Those 3 steps are your climbing gear, practical tools to keep you moving. Write that goal, make that connection, start that project. Each action is a step higher, closer to the blessing that's already yours. The air around you is charged, chosen one, pulsing with the promise of a blessing that's not just near, it's now, alive, and ready to transform everything you thought was possible. You're not just standing on a mountaintop, gazing at a distant horizon. You're at the edge of a divine precipice, where one bold leap of faith will launch you into the fullness of God's plan. That stirring in your spirit, that fire kindling in your chest, it's the Holy Spirit whispering that this is your moment to soar. You've climbed through valleys of doubt, scaled cliffs of fear, and now the winds of heaven are at your back, urging you to trust, to move, to claim what's been written in the stars since before time began. Your blessing isn't a faint hope. It's a roaring certainty, a divine decree that demands your response. Picture a vast sky stretching before you, each star a promise, each constellation a piece of your destiny. That sky is yours to claim, but only if you spread your wings and fly. Let's talk about what it means to fly. To step into this blessing with the courage of a heart aligned with God's purpose. Flying doesn't mean you'll never feel the pull of gravity, the weight of old fears, or the sting of past wounds. It means you choose to rise above them, trusting that God's strength will lift you higher than your limitation. Isaiah 40:31 proclaims, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." This is your promise, chosen one. A strength that doesn't falter. A flight that doesn't end in a fall. The blessing God is sending right now isn't just about what you'll receive, it's about who you'll become. A warrior who runs without tiring, a visionary who walks without fainting, an eagle who soars into the heights of divine purpose. Your wings are ready. Will you use them? Consider the story of Ruth, a woman who could have stayed grounded in the familiar. Widowed, grieving, and far from home, she had every reason to cling to the safety of Moab. But something stirred in her spirit. A divine nudge to follow Naomi, to step into the unknown. Ruth didn't have a map or a guarantee, just a heart led her to Bethlehem, to Boaz, to a legacy that placed her in the lineage of Christ. Her blessing wasn't waiting in Moab, it was in the fields of faith, where she dared to move. Your blessing, chosen one, isn't in the comfort of what you know, it's in the uncharted territory of faith, where God is calling you to go. Those 3 steps we've shared, writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project, are your first flaps of those wings, small movements that will lift you into the blessing God has released. Let me tell you about Marcus, a 50-year-old mechanic from Detroit. For decades he dreamed of mentoring young men in his neighborhood, teaching them trade skills to keep them off the streets. But the weight of daily bills and the fear of failing those kids kept him grounded. One evening, a message like this one broke through his doubts. It urged him to act, to trust God's timing. Marcus remembered the steps. He wrote, "I will mentor 5 teens by next month." He called a pastor friend, asking to use the church's garage for workshops. That connection sparked a program, and Marcus took the first step by fixing a car with 2 teens. Today, his mentorship serves dozens, with local businesses offering apprenticeships. Marcus didn't wait for perfect wings. He flew with the ones God gave him. That's your call, chosen one. To fly, to trust that your small steps will carry you into the blessing. If this message is setting your soul alight, type, "I am soaring into my blessing" in the comments below. Your declaration is a gust of wind, lifting others to rise with you, a signal to heaven that you're ready to fly. Your words could be the spark that helps someone else spread their wings. And if this truth is stirring your heart, consider supporting through super thanks to help us reach more chosen ones poised to soar into their destiny. Your generosity isn't just a gift. It's a current, carrying this message to those who need it most. But whether you give or receive, know that you're part of a divine flock, a community of chosen ones rising together. Now, let's unpack why this blessing feels so close, so tangible. It's because God's timing is precise, like a symphony reaching its crescendo. Every note of your life, the highs of hope, the lows of loss, has been building to this moment. The enemy has tried to drown out the music, hasn't he? With discord of doubt, with static of distraction, with silence of delay. But God is the conductor, and his baton is raised, signaling that your breakthrough is now. Think about Daniel, praying for 21 days while heaven seemed silent. Daniel 10:12 reveals, "From the first day that you set your heart to understand and humbled yourself before your God, your words were heard." A cosmic battle raged, but Daniel's prayers were answered from day one. Your prayers, chosen one, have been heard. The blessing is in motion, fighting through spiritual opposition to reach you. Your job isn't to wait for the battle to end. It's to stand in faith, knowing the victory is already yours. Here's where the enemy's tactics get exposed. He doesn't just want you to doubt God's promises, he wants you to doubt your place in them. He whispers that you're too ordinary, that blessings like this are for others, that your story doesn't matter. But that's a lie from the pit of hell. You are extraordinary, not because of your achievements, but because of God's choice. Ephesians 1:4 declares, "He chose us in him before the foundation of the world." Before you took your first breath, God marked you as his, with a purpose that echoes through eternity. Your story, your struggles, your faith, your resilience is a masterpiece, a testament to God's power. Your blessing isn't just for you. It's a brushstroke in a divine painting, a note in a heavenly song, a light in a darkened world. Imagine a tapestry, each thread a moment of your life. Joy, pain, hope, fear. Alone, those threads seem random, but in God's hands they form a breathtaking design. Your blessing is the moment the tapestry is revealed, when you see how every thread was necessary, how every trial was a color, how every prayer was a pattern. That revelation is here, chosen one, but it requires you to keep weaving. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project, are your needle and thread, practical ways to partner with God's design. Don't overcomplicate it. These steps are your way of saying, "I trust you, God. I'm ready to see the masterpiece." Act on them and watch how the tapestry unfolds. Let's talk about legacy, because your blessing isn't just about today, it's about tomorrow, about the generations who will walk in the light you leave behind. Think about Abraham, called to be a father of nations. He didn't see the fullness of that promise in his lifetime, but his faith set it in motion. Freedom for your family, hope for your community, revival for your world. Every step you take toward this blessing is a stone in a path others will follow. The enemy hates that. He's terrified of your legacy because it's a threat to his dominion. That's why the opposition has been fierce, why the doubts have been loud. But you're stronger than you know, because the God who called you is unstoppable. Picture a seed buried in dark soil, pressed by weight, hidden from sight. That seed is you, chosen one, planted in trials, nurtured by faith. Now the soil is breaking open, the sprout is rising, the blessing is bursting forth. John 12:24 says, "Unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed, but if it dies, it produces many seed." Your trials were your dying, your faith was your sprouting, and your blessing is your harvest. That harvest is here, but you must reach for it. Those 3 steps are your hands, gathering what God has grown. Write that goal, make that connection, start that project. Each action is a reaping, a claiming of what's yours. The horizon is ablaze with promise, chosen one, and you're not just flying toward it, you're becoming it. A radiant beacon of God's glory, soaring into a blessing that's as vast as the sky and as personal as your heartbeat. That fire in your spirit, that surge of hope rising within you, it's not a fleeting emotion. It's the eternal pulse of divine purpose, syncing your life with heaven's rhythm. You're no longer bound by the gravity of past regrets or the turbulence of present fear. You're lifted by the truth that God's blessing is here, now, waiting for you to claim it with every ounce of faith you possess. Picture a celestial river flowing from the throne of God, its waters sparkling with provision, restoration, and destiny. That river is rushing toward you, and you're not just dipping your toes, you're diving in, trusting that its current will carry you exactly where you're meant to be. This is your moment to swim, to embrace the blessing with a courage that drowns out every doubt. Let's talk about what it means to dive into this blessing, to fully immerse yourself in God's plan. It's not about erasing every uncertainty or silencing every fear. It's about choosing to trust God's voice above the noise. Psalm 23:4 declares, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Notice that the psalmist doesn't avoid the valley. He walks through it, confident in God's presence. Your blessing, chosen one, isn't waiting on the other side of a perfect life. It's here, in the midst of your challenges, your questions, your shadows. God is with you, guiding you through the valley to a table prepared in the presence of your enemies. Your faith journey isn't about escaping the struggle. It's about transforming it, turning every shadow into a stepping stone toward your breakthrough. Consider the story of Hannah, a woman whose heart ached for a child while she endured the taunts of those around her. Her pain was real, her prayers desperate. Yet she didn't let bitterness anchor her to despair. Instead, she poured out her soul to God at the temple, vowing to dedicate her child to his service. 1 Samuel 1:11 records her cry, "Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life." Hannah didn't wait for her circumstances to change. She acted in faith, trusting God's promise. Her blessing, Samuel, became a prophet who shifted a nation's destiny. Your blessing, chosen one, is tied to your willingness to pour out your heart, to trust God's plan even when the outcome isn't clear. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project, are your prayer, your vow, your act of faith that opens the heaven. Let me share a story about Eleanor, a 28-year-old graphic designer from Miami. For years she felt called to create art that inspired faith, but self-doubt and a demanding job kept her dream on hold. One night, scrolling through her phone, she felt a message like this one pierce her spirit. It urged her to stop waiting, to act on her calling. Eleanor remembered the steps. She wrote, I will design one faith-based artwork by next Saturday. She messaged a friend who ran a small Christian bookstore asking if she could display her work. That connection led to her first sale, then a commission for a church mural. Today, Elena's art adorns worship spaces, touching hearts she'll never meet. Her doubt didn't disappear, but her faith outshone it. That's your invitation, to let your faith shine, to dive into the blessing with those 3 steps as your stroke. If this message is flooding your spirit with hope, type, "I am diving into my blessing," in the comments below. Your declaration is a wave, crashing against the shores of doubt, lifting others to swim with you. Your words could be the lifeline someone needs to trust again. And if this truth is stirring your soul, consider supporting through Super Thanks to help us carry this message to more chosen ones standing at the edge of their river. Your generosity is a current, pushing this truth to those who need it most. But whether you give or receive, know you're part of a divine tide, a community of chosen ones flowing toward God's purpose. Now let's explore why this blessing feels so alive, so immediate. It's because God's promises are not bound by time, they're activated by faith. The enemy wants you to believe your season has passed, that you've missed your chance, that the river has dried up, but that's a deception designed to keep you from diving in. Think about Caleb, who at 85 years old stood before Joshua and declared, "Give me this mountain." Joshua 14:12. 40 years earlier, he'd seen the promised land. But delay didn't dim his faith. He didn't let age, opposition, or time steal his promise. Your blessing, chosen one, isn't expired, it's ripe, ready to be claimed no matter how long you've waited. Your age, your past, your setbacks, they're not barriers, they're badges. Proof of your readiness to carry this blessing with wisdom and strength. Here's the enemy's playbook. He wants you to see the river as a risk, not a resource. He points to the depth, the current, the unknowns, hoping you'll stay on the shore. But God sees the river as your pathway, a conduit of His power. Every challenge you've faced, every financial strain, every broken relationship, every unfulfilled dream was teaching you to swim, to trust the one who commands the waters. Those 3 steps are your strokes, practical ways to navigate the river. Writing that goal sets your direction. Connecting with someone builds your strength. Starting that project propels you forward. These aren't just tasks. They're your partnership with God, your way of saying, "I'm all in." Don't let the enemy convince you to stay dry. Dive in and watch how the waters part. Imagine a garden, lush and vibrant, its soil rich with seeds planted long ago. That garden is your life, chosen one, and every prayer, every act of faith, every tear has been a seed. Now, the season of sprouting has arrived. The blessing God is sending is your harvest. But you must tend the garden. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heaven. This is your season, your time to reap what's been sown. The enemy wants you to overlook the sprouts, to focus on the weeds of doubt or the rocks of fear. But God is calling you to see the growth, to nurture it with faith. Those 3 steps are your tools, your pen, your phone, your first action, cultivating the harvest that's already breaking through. Let's talk about impact, because your blessing isn't just personal, it's generational. When you dive into this river, you're not just swimming for yourself, you're carving a channel for others to follow, your children, your community, your world. Think about Nehemiah, who saw Jerusalem's broken walls and felt a burden to rebuild. He didn't have resources or permission, but he had a vision and a God who makes ways. Nehemiah 2:18 records, "I told them about the gracious hand of my God on me. They replied, 'Let us start rebuilding.' Your blessing is your wall. You're rebuilding your legacy. Every step you take inspires others to pick up their tools, to trust God's hand. The enemy fears this ripple effect, because one chosen one's faith can spark a revival. That's why the resistance has been fierce, but it's also why your victory will be glorious. Picture a flame, small but steady, burning in the darkness. That flame is you, chosen one, kindled by God's Spirit, unquenched by trials. Now the winds of heaven are fanning that flame, turning it into a wildfire of purpose. Matthew 5:16 urges, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Your blessing is your light, your chance to shine so brightly that others find their way home. Those 3 steps are your fuel. Writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project, keeping the flame alive. Don't hide your light, let it blaze, and watch how it draws others to God's glory. The flames of your purpose are leaping higher, chosen one, casting a glow that pierces the shadows of doubt and illuminates the path to your blessing. You're not just a spark in the darkness, you're a blazing torch, carried by the hand of God, lighting the way for a world desperate for hope. That river of divine provision, that garden of sprouting dreams, that wildfire of faith, they're all converging in this moment, creating a symphony of destiny that resonates with the heartbeat of heaven. You can feel it, can't you? The way the air hums with possibility, the way your spirit dances to a rhythm only you and God can hear. This is no ordinary hour. This is the hour when your blessing, sent from the throne room of eternity, collides with your faith, igniting a personal transformation that will echo far beyond your lifetime. Picture a mighty oak, its roots deep, its branches reaching for the sky, unshaken by storm. That oak is you, chosen one, planted by God's hand, growing into a legacy that will shelter generations. Your blessing is here, and it's time to stand tall and claim it. Let's talk about what it means to stand as that oak, to root yourself in the truth of God's promise and stretch toward the blessing He's sending right now. Standing doesn't mean you're free from storms, winds of uncertainty, rains of criticism, or lightning strikes of fear may come. But it means you're anchored in a faith so deep that no tempest can uproot you. Psalm 1:3 paints this picture. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Your blessing, chosen one, is your fruit, your season of prosperity, your moment to yield what God has planted within you. The storms you faced, every loss, every doubt, every moment you felt like giving up, were watering your roots, strengthening you to bear this blessing with unshakable resolve. Your divine purpose isn't fragile. It's fortified, ready to flourish in this very moment. Consider the story of Deborah, a prophetess and judge in Israel who stood firm when her nation trembled. In Judges 4, while others cowered under oppression, Deborah sat under her palm tree, dispensing God's wisdom. When the time came to confront the enemy, she didn't hesitate. She called Barak to battle, declaring God's victory. Her faith wasn't in her own strength, but in the God who appointed her. Deborah's blessing wasn't just her leadership, it was the freedom she secured for her people. Your blessing, chosen one, is like that. A victory not just for you, but for those tied to your obedience. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project, are your palm tree, your place of faith, where you declare, God's promise is mine, and I'm standing on it. These steps anchor you, keeping you steady as you claim what's yours. Let me tell you about Aisha, a 39-year-old teacher from Seattle. For years, she felt a pull to write a book about overcoming anxiety, but the fear of judgment kept her silent. One Sunday, a sermon on standing firm stirred her soul. She recalled the steps. She wrote, "I will outline my book by next Friday." She emailed a writer friend, asking for feedback on her ideas. That connection sparked encouragement, and Aisha began her first chapter. Today, her book is in its second printing, helping thousands find peace. Aisha's fear didn't vanish, but her faith stood taller. That's your call. To stand as an oak, to let your faith tower over fear, to take those 3 steps and watch God's blessing unfold. If this message is rooting hope in your heart, type "I am standing for my blessing" in the comments below. Your declaration is a seed sinking deep into the soil of faith, inspiring others to stand with you. Your words could be the anchor someone needs to hold fast. And if this truth is stirring your spirit, consider supporting through super thanks to help us reach more chosen ones ready to rise. Your generosity is a root, grounding this message in hearts that need it most. But whether you give or receive, know you're part of a divine forest, a community of chosen ones standing together in faith. Now, let's explore why this blessing feels so undeniable, like a current pulling you toward destiny. It's because God's promises are alive, active, sharper than any double-edged sword, as Hebrews 4:12 tells us. They're not dormant wishes. They're dynamic forces cutting through every obstacle to reach you. The enemy wants you to see your blessing as a distant star, unreachable, reserved for others, but God sees it as a seed already sprouting, a promise already in motion. Think about Elisha, who inherited Elijah's mantle. In 2 Kings 2, he didn't wait for the mantle to fall, he struck the Jordan with it, declaring, "Where now is the God of Elijah?" The waters parted, confirming his blessing. Your blessing, chosen one, is like that mantle, yours to claim, but only if you act. Those 3 steps are your strike, your bold move to say, "Where is my blessing? I'm here for it." Here's the enemy's deception. He wants you to believe your blessing requires perfection. He points to your flaws, your doubts, your stumbles, hoping you'll disqualify yourself. But God's grace is greater than your imperfections. Your blessing isn't earned, it's received, a gift from a Father who loves you. Romans 8:32 asks, "He who did not spare his own Son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things?" If God gave Jesus for you, will he withhold your blessing? No. It's here, wrapped in grace, waiting for you to unwrap it with faith. Those 3 steps are your hands: opening the gift, writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project. Don't let perfectionism steal what grace has provided. Imagine a bridge spanning a chasm, its planks sturdy, its destination a land of promise. That bridge is your faith, chosen one, built by every prayer, every choice to trust, every moment you stood firm. Now, you're crossing it, not alone, but with God as your guide. The enemy wants you to focus on the chasm, the risks, the what-ifs, the fall. But God is calling you to look at the bridge, to see its strength, to trust its path. Your blessing is on the other side, but the journey across is where you grow. Those 3 steps are your strides, each one a testament to your faith, each one bringing you closer to the land God has promised. Don't pause, keep walking, and watch how the chasm shrinks behind you. Let's talk about influence. Because your blessing is a beacon, not just for you, but for a world watching. When you stand for your blessing, you become a lighthouse, guiding ships through storms. Your faith, your courage, your obedience, they're signals to others that God is real, that his promises endure. Think about Paul, shipwrecked, imprisoned, yet unwavering. In Acts 27, amidst a storm, he declared, "Keep up your courage, for I have faith in God that it will happen just as he told me." His faith saved a ship's crew, proving God's power. Your blessing, chosen one, is your ship, your chance to prove God's power to those around you. Those 3 steps are your voice, declaring God is faithful. Write that goal, connect with someone, start that project, and let your life shout his glory. Picture a crown, forged in heaven, set with jewels of faith, courage, and purpose. That crown is yours, chosen one, not for pride, but for responsibility. Your blessing is your coronation, your moment to reign in the calling God has given you. The enemy wants you to see yourself as unworthy, but God sees you as royalty, a co-heir with Christ. Romans 8:17 says, "If we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ." Your blessing is your inheritance, but you must claim it. Those 3 steps are your scepter, your authority to rule over fear, to govern your destiny, to lead others to freedom. Don't shrink from the crown, wear it, and watch how heaven honors you. The crown of your calling rests firmly on your brow, chosen one. Its weight a reminder of the divine authority you carry and the blessing that's surging through your life right now. You're not just standing as an oak, unshaken by storms. You're reigning, a royal ambassador of God's kingdom, radiating a light that shifts atmospheres and awakens hearts. The river of provision, the garden of dreams, the wildfire of faith, the bridge of promise. They've all led you here, to a moment where heaven's vault is open, pouring out a blessing so abundant it could overflow every corner of your existence. Feel that pulse in your spirit, that electric current of anticipation. It's not just hope. It's the very breath of God, breathing life into your destiny, urging you to run, not walk, toward the promise He's released. Picture a golden key, forged in the fires of your trials, glowing with your name etched in divine script. That key is in your hand, and it unlocks a treasury of God's goodness, waiting for you to turn it. Your blessing is here, chosen one, and it's time to open the door. Let's talk about what it means to turn that key, to step into the fullness of this blessing with a faith that doesn't just believe, but acts. Turning the key isn't about forcing God's hand. It's about aligning your heart with His will, trusting that what He's promised is already yours. John 10:10 declares, "I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." Jesus didn't promise a half-hearted existence or a trickle of blessings. He promised abundance, a life overflowing with purpose, provision, and joy. Your blessing, chosen one, is that abundant life. But it requires you to unlock it, to say yes to God's invitation, even when the treasury's contents aren't fully visible. The trials you've faced, every moment of scarcity, every wound of rejection, every night of wondering why, were shaping that key, crafting it to fit this exact moment. Your spiritual awakening is now, and the door is ready to swing wide. Consider the story of Lydia, a seller of purple cloth in Acts 16. She was a businesswoman, successful by the world's standards, yet her heart yearned for more. When Paul preached by the river, Lydia's spirit stirred. She didn't just listen, she acted, opening her heart to God's truth and her home to His messengers. Her faith unlocked a blessing that made her household a hub for the early church, influencing countless lives. Lydia didn't wait for a grand sign. She turned the key with what she had. Your blessing, chosen one, is like that, waiting for you to use the faith you already possess. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project, are your turn of the key practical acts that open the door to God's treasury. These steps aren't burdens, they're privileges. your partnership with the Creator to unleash His goodness. Let me share a story about Javier, a 42-year-old carpenter from Phoenix. For years, he dreamed of building affordable homes for struggling families, but fear of financial ruin kept him tethered to small jobs. One evening, a message like this one broke through his hesitation, urging him to act on his calling. Javier recalled the steps. He wrote, "I will draft a housing proposal by next Tuesday." He called a city council member he'd met at a community event, asking for guidance. That connection led to a meeting with a non-profit, and Javier started a pilot project, building his first home. Today, his initiative has housed 10 families with more planned. Javier's fear didn't vanish, but his faith turned the key. That's your invitation, to turn the key, to let your faith unlock the blessing God is sending right now. If this message is unlocking hope in your spirit, type "I am turning my key" in the comments below. Your declaration is a click of the lock, signaling to heaven that you're ready and inspiring others to open their doors. Your words could be the nudge someone needs to act. And if this truth is stirring your heart, consider supporting through Super Thanks to help us reach more chosen ones holding their keys. Your generosity is a spark, igniting faith where it's needed most. But whether you give or receive, know you're part of a divine unlocking, a community of chosen ones opening heaven's treasures together. Now, let's dive into why this blessing feels so urgent, like a tide pulling you toward eternity. It's because God's promises are not static, they're dynamic, moving with divine precision, aligned with His perfect timing. The enemy wants you to believe you've missed your moment, that the treasury is empty, that someone else has claimed your share. But that's a lie meant to keep your share unused. Think about Mary, the mother of Jesus. When the angel Gabriel announced her calling, she could have said, "I'm too young, too ordinary, too unprepared." Instead, Luke 1:38 records her response, "I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled." Mary's yes turned the key, unlocking a blessing that changed history. Your yes, chosen one, is just as powerful, ready to unlock a blessing that shifts your world and beyond. Here's the enemy's strategy. He wants you to see the key as too small, the door as too heavy, the blessing as too far. He'll point to your limitations, your resources, your experience, your past, hoping you'll drop the key. But God sees your limitations as opportunities, places where His strength shines brightest. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Your blessing doesn't depend on your perfection. It depends on God's grace, which is more than enough. Those 3 steps are your way of leaning into that grace. Writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project. They're not about proving your worth. They're about proving God's faithfulness. Turn the key and watch how the door swings open. Imagine a banquet hall, its tables laden with every good thing. Provision, peace, purpose, joy. That hall is your blessing, chosen one, prepared by God Himself. The door is before you, and the key is in your hand. The enemy wants you to linger outside, questioning if you're invited, doubting if the feast is for you. But God is calling you to enter, to take your seat, to taste and see that He is good. Psalm 34:8 invites, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in Him." Your blessing is your seat at the table, but you must walk through the door. Those 3 steps are your steps into the hall, each one a move toward the feast, each one a declaration that you belong. Let's talk about transformation, because your blessing is more than provision. It's a rebirth, a remaking of who you are. When you turn that key, You're not just receiving, you're becoming. Becoming the leader who inspires, the healer who restores, the dreamer who builds. Think about Saul, who became Paul on the road to Damascus. Acts 9 tells us a light from heaven blinded him, and a voice called his name. That moment didn't just change his path, it changed his identity, from persecutor to apostle. Your blessing, chosen one, is your Damascus road. Your moment to become who God sees. Those 3 steps are your encounter. Writing a goal, connecting with someone, starting a project. Each one peeling back layers of doubt to reveal the masterpiece within you. Picture a sunrise, its rays piercing the night, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson. That sunrise is your blessing, chosen one, breaking through the darkness of delay, illuminating your path. The enemy wants you to stay in the night, to believe the dawn won't come. But God is the daybreak, and His light is here. Malachi 4:2 promises, "But for you who revere my name, the Sun of Righteousness will rise with healing in its rays." Your blessing is that healing, that light, that new day. Those 3 steps are your steps into the dawn, your pen, your voice, your action, carrying you into the warmth of God's promise. Don't wait for the sun to climb higher. Step into the light now. If this message is dawning in your spirit, type "I am turning my key" in the comments. Let your declaration blaze like the sunrise, calling others to greet their dawn. And if this truth is illuminating your soul, consider supporting through super thanks to help us shine this light to chosen ones still in the night. Your generosity is a ray, piercing the darkness for those who need it most. You're part of a divine daybreak, a movement of chosen ones stepping into the light. Your blessing is now, chosen one. The key is yours, the door is open, the sunrise awaits. Keep turning and watch what heaven does next.